Hello and welcome to the post round 4 Q&A video leading into round 5. So we have about 100 comments here, probably 90 odd questions, so we'll go through all of them. And yeah, should be good. So a lot of questions on Crips. But yeah, before that, if you want to ask me a question, my weekly videos I post usually late Sunday nights, a few hours after lockout. Leave a question in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them as best as I can, and hopefully I am some help, and you still make your own decisions, but hopefully you can see my perspective on a few things. So yeah, we'll get to the questions. A lot of questions will be on Crips. With Crips, he is listed as 0 to 1 week hamstring injury. That is not unheard of. Sinclair had missed one game with a hamstring last year. A few years back, Sloan played the same week he had a hamstring. He did kick on the opposite foot. He probably should not have played. Crows love playing injured players, but yeah, it is possible to miss a week with a hamstring, so not unheard of. And for me, in Supercoach, that is a hold. In my video, I was thinking, well, hamstring probably 3-4 weeks. I was going to trade, probably not in a position to trade in myself anyway, but yeah, I don't see much benefit in. I don't think the benefit of a trade for what seems to be a 1 week injury is worth it, because first of all, if you're upgrading Crips, you're either going sideways to, I don't know, down, forward, English, Taranto, or Heaney, or whoever you like, or you're paying an extra 100k, because we've already secured a keeper for 450 or 500k in Crips. So, and mids generally cost 600 plus to get in, maybe a tad cheaper than that. So I think we've got a cheap keeper. It seems like that's what we've committed to if you have him. So I would be holding, using 2 trades or using your 100k in the bank just to get him up to a big dog mid. Well, kind of feels bad because that 100k you want to use for upgrades. So we're expecting Crips to perform like a 600k mid this year. That's what it looks like. We'll see how long he goes for, but he's in career best form, so it's just unfortunate he did the hamstring injury. Long story short, I will be holding Crips. Tom Brew, first question. Damn, George, when did you trade Brody? Oh, I hate bringing this up because it's so embarrassing, but I went Brody. I thought Hayes was a must-have, and I didn't have, I didn't start Owens, I didn't start Saligo, I didn't start McGovern. I had no one to go from Hayes to. I had Dixon though, but lucky I held him. Just a bad decision. Just horrible misread on limited data. So Brody looked really, really good, and I'm actually bringing him in this week. If you believe Brody's a keeper and you don't have him, bring him in. If you don't, you're wasting your time here. So I believe I saw enough. He's currently the 4th highest scorer in fantasy, the 6th highest scorer in Supercoach. For me, I think he's a good chance he's a keeper. Role looks good. Time and ground's going up, and I don't think they take him out of that role even with others coming back. So yeah, probably my worst trade ever. So not a good start to the video, but I've had 2 really bad weeks of trading, and hopefully back on track now. So just put it down to that. Daniel Trembreath, hey George, I got a 4-man short list for Crips replacements. Again, Crips is a hold, but at the time people wouldn't have known. So just out for fun, Heaney, Sinclair, Taranto, or Green, who would I go for? I would go for Heaney. Heaney or Taranto, because Sinclair and Tom Green are still slightly on the speculative side. I believe Green's a real deal. Had a hamstring last year. His coach is Leon Cameron. Not sure he's top 8, but he's a good chance for that range. Sinclair's really good. He's I was watching highlights of him. He does a lot of good things with the ball. Had 0 clangers in a very easy win. Probably gets more of the ball in the back half. Yeah, I think he's good. At clearance, I wasn't amazed with him at stoppages, but more the stuff around the ground. But I haven't watched probably enough of him, but that was what the tape I watched of him on the AFL Pro app or whatever it is. Watch his highlights on there. Currently on the AFL player ratings, he is currently the 4th best player in the league, which is usually a pretty good indicator that he is very good. Zach Jones and Hunter Clark have to come in. How does that affect Sinclair? I don't know. Also had a minor hamstring last year, so I'll pass on Sinclair. I think he's a solid pick though. So he's one you could go for if you want. I'm, given the position I'm in personally, I don't want to go speculative at this point. Speculative can end in tears. So especially if you're paying full price for a speculative player, I don't love it. But he went 95 in the back half last year. I think Sinclair's the real deal. So I think he's fine if you want to go for it. But out of these 4, I would go Heaney or Taranto. Probably Heaney. we got to remember last year, as good as Toronto's been and that Green is out, we saw Leon throw him full forward for an entire game last year. So, whereas, Heaney can score out of position. So, that's my logic on that. Footy Galore 09, who would you play DeConning from Geelong or Paddy McCartan for the Swans? Who should I bench? So, I would play McCartan. McCartan's game's a bit more friendly. He can intercept a bit more and win his own ball a little bit more. DeConing can take some really nice intercepts, but if he's not taking 3 or 4 big marks, he's not scoring anything, most likely. So, DeConing's a bit more risky, and I think we're all happy to field McCartan, so I would go Paddy McCartan. I know he scored 55 this week, was off for 20 minutes while the game was close in the fourth quarter, got scaled down. Really, really unlucky. So, because he had that potential concussion, but they took him off to be conservative with him, which is fair because of his history and nearly lost his career to concussion. So field McCartan is my view on that. But yeah, rookie roulette always hard. Bowie, Crips, Hinge to Sinclair, Drusk and English. No. So if you want to go Bowie and Hinge, here's the thing. I wouldn't be getting rid of Hinge. I think in this scenario it might be okay, because English is going up in price and Hinge will go up. So Hinge is going to play this week. Hinge could make another 90k, to be honest. His role is good. So I actually wouldn't do any of this. You could go you could go Bowie to O'Driscoll and then use that money elsewhere. That's probably the only thing I'd do. And you can even hold Bowie if you want. I think he'll score okay, but I think you need to have O'Driscoll. And if he's your only avenue, then I would do that. So no to the other two. No to trading Hinge, no to trading Crips. Excuse me, I got a bit of acid or something. Joe. Hey George, got 32 trades left. Unsure if I want to bring in a Crips replacement and O'Driscoll for 2 trades this week. Yeah, just get O'Driscoll. Steve Miller. Oh, here we go. George, mate, you've lost your plot with Brody. Hope to see you lift this week. Thoughts on Crips to Seb Ross? I think I'm being trolled here. I wouldn't be getting Seb Ross. And again, stance on Brody. If you think he's a keeper, bring him in. If you don't waste your time. Nick Hale, is it worth benching Crips or definitely trading him? Bench him. Crips to English for Cogs and English. If I had to trade Crips in one trade to anyone in the entire game, it would be Tim English. So if you want to do that, do it. I still said, as I've said 10 times this video, hold Crips. Steve Miller, this is the same troll. Is this a bong in the background? And is that where you're at? I don't know where it is. Oh, there it is. That is not a bong. That is a vase. You put flowers in them. I wouldn't know how to smoke a bong. I don't do that stuff. I'm a bit soft when it comes to all that hardcore stuff. So don't want to do that. Like, very careful with what I put stuff in my body. With what stuff I put in my body, because my can't have gluten, can't have berries. It's weird. Like, my body can't handle rubbish. In the trip to Melbourne, I stayed with 2 other boys in Airbnb, and they were just laughing at me because they were having Macca's, Hungry Jacks, and pasta and everything, and I was just on sushi and like stuff from the natural health section, like in the supermarket. So, like organic crackers and stuff, because that's just what I eat. I'm just a nightmare. So yeah, I don't know. I don't smoke weed or anything like that. Jacob Petrilli. Hey George, Crips to English to cover Bruce this week. Might go Hinge to Drisk if that's a long-term injury. No. Don't need to move Crips. Think of moving Crips. No. Yeah, again, I'll try and skip the Crips questions as much, even though like half of them are on Crips. Anthony Yunes. I went Dunkley captain and got annoyed when I saw the fantasy versus Supercoach. Also, Crip got injured as I feared. Love the content, George. Looking at Gibcus, Nod, and Ridley to Doc or Hole. Not sure which one. I want to trade Ridley because he isn't benefiting from Essendon's game plan, whereas where a Doc gets cheap possessions which benefit him. Okay, so let's go over this. So yeah. So my view this week was I didn't want to captain McRae because he played wing last week, and I was fine with him VC. Captain, no. Scored 160, so apparently I got that one wrong. And yeah, Dunkley was his kicking was apparently poor, but yeah, same score as McRae in Dream Team. Lucky he was my captain in fantasy, but yeah, it really, really sucks because he would have been my captain, I think, if Heaney didn't work, so I got lucky there. So yeah, a little bit unlucky with Dunkley with the ratio there. Gibcus to Nod, yep, that's a tick. I like Gibcus. I think he's good. He'll keep playing. He'll make another 40, 50k, but he's probably the most expendable for Nathan O'Driscoll. And getting Nod in that back line lets you get Dacos into the mids, and I think that's Dacos down back, so that's important. And Ridley to Doc or Hole. Hole makes me, I feel sick about Hole because I'm so worried about his hamstring. So with Hole, look, Zeebel's gone forward, so that opens up Hole and McDonald to score well. But like, I don't know why I did this because, you know, in the preseason I said, you know, I don't pick players with soft tissue injuries leading into round 1, but I saw how many points Hall could possibly score. I'm like, I'll just take the whole risk. So I don't recommend Aaron Hall. I wouldn't bring him in. Like, it's just fundamentally wrong to bring in a player that you didn't bring in because of injury, and then he's, you know, bring him in 3 rounds in because he's scoring well. I think that was a mistake by me, and I know he should be, probably it will be fine, but just super worried about Hall. Doherty, yes, I did Ridley to Doherty. I don't know how long Doherty keeps this up for, but he's not even getting many kick ends, and he's doing this. But Blue style, very, very fantasy friendly. The midfield and defense, they're just scoring so heavily, a lot of them. So and they're playing well. So I would pick Doc over Hall. But yeah, Doc does have the durability issues, so bear that in mind. But he's at least most likely with Doc. If you do have to trade him, you probably trade him out for 600 plus K. Then bank, I don't know, you can go down to Lloyd, bank 100k if something happens to Doc. Gallows, how about Crips to Brody? Nah, don't do that. Oh, he's saying my trades. Also avoid the Sicily, trade in Sicily because of role injury risk. I don't really see Sicily as much of an injury risk or role risk, to be honest. I do like him. Oh, yeah, so he's recommending my trades, yeah. Thanks for your help, though. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, but yeah, with Crips, he's fine. Filter champ. watching your disintegration into the odd man at a trash and treasure junk sale market is becoming comedy gold. I feel for you. Obviously, no one ever told you to not touch it, or if you keep playing with it, it'll fall off. Yeah, I know. It's true. Like, yeah, very good analogy in Supercoach. Just leave it. If I honestly, if I was on 35 trades right now, I would be in a better position than I was. My team would look better than it is now with 27, I think, after this week. Getting in O'Driscoll and who's the other one? Trading in Brody, apparently. So getting those 2 in. Oh boy. Should I get rid of Butters, Crips, or Hinge, or Rao? Generally don't know what to make this week. Okay, so let's go through it. Butters, I don't believe there's enough reason to trade Butters yet. I am concerned. The contested ball winning is down, and there's potential that, you know, Sam Pelpepper might have injured him a few weeks ago, and that could be the cause. We don't know. But he looked a bit better in the 4th quarter last week, so keep an eye on Butters. So Butters is monitor. I don't think there's enough reason to trade, but yeah, he's getting. It could be a problem, but yeah, not enough reason to trade in my opinion. Crips is a hold. Hinge is definitely a hold. Halfback role, kick-ins. Sounds like he'll be available this week. And Rao I'm concerned about because they're using him in the dumbest role. Well, maybe it's working for them, so that's fine. Maybe he's trying to learn off other mids, but I think he's taken like 2 marks for the entire year. They're making him check their best midfielder at stoppages. Yeah, you just see the ball just ping over his head non-stop. It's just very annoying because he's on the screen a lot, but he's like, it's not getting the ball. So yeah, relying on tackles. I think Rao's break even 60, and look, he can pop and go off, but I think you can hold him for this week and maybe the week after, and then if his break even crashes and he's still in this stupid role, then I would feel comfortable moving him on because he's not a keeper, but we know he has a good ceiling in him. Is Gibcus or Water O'Driscoll worth it? Yes. See, I'm in this position too. I actually would rather get rid of Ward than Gibcus. Or no, Ward has more upside than Gibbous, but I think the argument for getting rid of Gibbous is that gets you Dacos to D6. It just makes your structure look so much better, and then you can either field or bench O'Driscoll. Because to me, O'Driscoll's probably closer to a bench than field option, given the strength of the rookies in all lines, or in the midfield and forward line. So if you can like stack your defense, have like 5 primos plus Dacos, then you can have all your good rooks in the other lines. So and mid prices, I'd say Gibcus. If Ward is dropped though and Gibcus is playing, then just get rid of Ward. YTB, here the boys. Want to bring in Oliver for Crips. He might get tagged this week. Break even 162. Should I wait a week and field a rookie or risk it and bring him in? Don't trade Crips and don't trade in Oliver when he could potentially get tagged this week. He could be fine, but high break even, tag risk. Give Oliver 2 weeks to drop and then assess from there. Jordan Gom, got rid of Crips, Butters, and McGuinness for Wits, Brody, and Steele. Haha, what a headache, George. I feel you. I can't sleep. Don't really sleep over this game. That's alright. Yeah, obviously hold Crips, hold Butters, and then McGuinness. So here you've got Crips and Butters to Steele and Brody. I guess if you see Brody, it's keeper. It's 2 keepers. I don't think it's worth a boost. So yeah, hold Crisp, hold Butters, hold Crips, hold Butters, and you can trade McGuinness to like O'Driscoll via DVP if you can. If you have another way to get Brody, I'd probably do it. But yeah, I wouldn't probably. I try and find another way to get Brody if you can. If you consider him a keeper, otherwise, just leave it. No reason to trade Crips just yet, and Butters as well. But yeah, monitor Butters for the next few weeks. Strangest, hey John, thinking of going Crips and Ward to O'Driscoll and not sure who to get in as a mid-premium. I have 580k. And this is the issue. So for those that want to get rid of Crips, and again, I don't recommend getting rid of Crips. 580k doesn't get you any mids besides Tom Green, because it doesn't get you Petrarca, doesn't get you Brayshaw, doesn't get you Oliver, doesn't get you Steele, doesn't get you McRae, if you probably already have him, doesn't get you Neil. Probably missing somebody obvious. Doesn't get you Took. There's no mids to get in my opinion, unless you are really high on somebody else. So don't think it even gets you Ben Keys. So I wouldn't even bother. Or Laird. Andrew Yakos. I captain Crips, crying. I honestly, this is why I didn't captain Neil in the early rounds, because we knew his durability was bad last year. And I said the same with Crips. You know, I don't feel comfortable captaining Crips. I don't feel captaining Neil, but probably this year should be captaining Neil. But yeah, just it sucks. Never had a hamstring before. Captaincy Max, getting out Crips and Ward, O'Driscoll and any Ruck. Do I back in Max or English or Wids? I'd go English, but yeah, don't trade a Crips. George, what are your thoughts on Sinclair? Got to trade Hinge. Okay, so no, don't do any of this. Don't trade Hinge. If you need to trade O'Driscoll, get rid of like Ward or McDonald or Stevens in the midfield. Yeah, don't do Crips to Sinclair. I gotta filter through these Crips because like every question's on Crips. And yeah, old news. Hey George, I got 256k in the bank. Do I wait till next week to move Stevens Ward, Crips, Rao, Butters potentially depending on how they play to Bruce, or do I use the cash to move Crips to English, Gorn or Steele, Oliver? Bit long, so I'll speak about plays individually. You can move Stevens on if you want. If he's named, don't move him on. If he's not named, I think you can move him. You can move Ward on if you want. I just think he's been playing quite awful, but he has the ceiling in him. It's just not happening. It just doesn't pass the eye test at the moment. So Ward you can hold if you want. Stevens you can hold if you want. But if you have to get rid of someone, get rid of one of those two. Stevens not playing, get rid of him. For O'Driscoll, hold Crips, and I would wait till next week for Bruce. So yep, do that. Wait for get more data on Rao and Butters. Well, I think we need one more week for assess Rao, and then Butters. Well, I don't think there's enough reason to trade Butters, and I have barely seen anyone trading him. But it could be a good play if he keeps dishing this crap up. Okay, Dean Nakos trading in Nod this year at 160k is deja vu of trading in Chapman at 160k last year. So with Chapman, only if this is only true, you have to remember Chapman was playing well. He had one bad game, and then he did his shoulder. So, Chapman had a 90 in his third game, I think. I think with O'Driscoll, you got to remember, he's got DPP. You can probably, should be all right to field him. He looks really, really good. He's had his second year in the system. Last year, Chapman was first year in the system. And his break-even is actually low at the time. So I think, look, O'Driscoll could get to low 300s, I think. Possibly more. So I loved this game in the preseason. I pretty high on O'Driscoll. Get him in. Mashed potatoes. Time to admit you've been wrong in all analysis, George. That's a shame. I don't know. I wouldn't say all. I've had a bad 2 weeks, I think. Should have picked Heaney, bruv. Ethan Wilson. Depending on injuries, etc., would you recommend Hinge to Driscoll and Crips to English? No to Hinge. Don't keep Hinge and keep Crips. Could you go Grawn C this week with Bruce and potentially Flynn and Briggs to come in? No. Flynn did alright against Gorn last year. From memory. Don't go Gorn C. Go VC nil and you'll probably take it. If you don't have McRae, then I don't know. Just take Neil's score. Pretty sure we'll get a good one. Matt's Card Shop. This guy must have his own sports cards YouTube channel. That's pretty cool. Hey George, what are your thoughts on Keys as a pod? I love the Ben Keys pick. So I nearly picked him in fantasy. He was actually in my team in fantasy. And then they played him half forward in the preseason game. And I'm like, what are they doing? And yeah, now he's moved full-time in the mids. He's clear best mid with the Laird as well. Matt Crouch is nowhere near the level of the other two. Yeah, he works really hard. Efficiency can hurt, but he's improved. And the word was over the preseason that he's improved. I like Ben Keys as a pick. He's a workhorse. He doesn't stop. It's the kicking will frustrate you at times. I think he can go 115 plus this year. He's already doing more than that. I'm a big fan of Ben Keys. I like it. It's just it's a little hard to justify when you got, Oliver Petrarca will be there at the same price. Probably have a slightly higher ceiling than Keys. So, but yeah, if you want to go for it, yeah, I like it. I'm not against it at all. Matt Donnelly, why did you trade Brody if you started him? Who did you trade him for? Thanks. It's just a dumb play. Like, I got carried away. I was in Melbourne and I don't know why I did it. I was not concentrating. I think I did the trade like on the way to the footy or something. I traded him to Jack Hayes after Jack Hayes scored 130 and he averaged like 150 in the SNFL, whatever it was. So yeah, horrible trade. Worst trade I've ever done by far. And I've done some bad trades in the past. Archie Hearn could be ranked 50k like me. Haven't had a week with all my promos playing. No Gorn, Crips or Wids. If you're 50k, you can still move up. Like I'm 34k, not great, but like 100 points is like 150 points is like 15k ranks above. So like 50k, you're probably only like 100 points behind me, something like that. So yeah, it's a long way to go. Jamie Musgrave, Crips captain killed me, but much to my surprise, I went up a few ranks into the top 500. Man, if you had Crips captain in your top 500, you are bing chillin'. So nice job, nice work. Chocolate Bear 33 completely lost the plot. I hope more people listen to this channel. Better for people who use their own brains and don't mindlessly follow this train wreck. Haha, very funny. Look, if you don't like my work, that's fine. I think I've had a bad 2 weeks of trading. But yeah, and that's the thing. So if people want to like be critical of me, that's fine. But people who are being critical aren't perfect themselves, so they have like no accountability at all on their name. So that's why it's kind of my perspective on like being a hater and stuff is like I don't like it anymore. Just because of what I just said. So yeah, no one's perfect. So but yeah, I guess when you're public, I don't want to say public figure, I'm not that big of a deal, but criticism is a part of it, and that's fine. Like I deal with it fine. I don't lose sleep over or anything like that. This is what it is. I don't really understand why people have to post stuff like this. Like I would never post anything like this on anyone's channel, but I completely understand. Yeah, if I was made smart trades, like you wouldn't get this sort of stuff. So that's actually the root cause of the issue. Is the root cause. So that's fine. What do us Bowie owners do? From Aaron Mitchell. hold or trade. If you can get him to a primo, trade. If not, hold. Or you can go all the way down to O'Driscoll. Because I think he was a bit unlucky to score because Port's game style didn't allow Melbourne defenders to do very well. Just because it kept getting intercepted in the middle of the ground. And you got to remember, they did not kick a goal for 2.5 quarters. And they finally got one and it was off a turnover. So the defenders didn't even have a chance to get it anyway. And then by the time the defenders could get it in the fourth quarter, game was over. So I think you can hold in. And I think he'll score okay. But because his break-even's crashed, because he's not a keeper, perfectly fine to get him to, go down to O'Driscoll, get him up to a keeper, or hold whichever one you like. If he's your only avenue to O'Driscoll, I would do that. White shirt, McRae's a bad man. He's a very bad man. Very bad. He's a disgusting pig. Oh my god, he just gets so many points. Jason Lewin, thoughts on Ridley to Sicily and Crips to Bond? I brought in Crips last round just to have him injured. Yeah, that sucks. Ridley to Sicily. So Ridley's probably like low 90s and Sicily I have like 100. Plus you bank the 50k. I'm actually not against it. I like Sicily. Me and JD argue over Sicily. He hates Sicily. I guess you see maybe they swing him forward. They did that for about 5 minutes once. He has no history of soft tissue injuries. He's had a few contact injuries back in the day. Had a few suspensions back in the day. But no soft tissue history. Worked harder than he's ever had in the preseason. And he's taken kick hits. He's demanding the footy. I love Sicily. I think he goes 100. I have at Ridley 90. Plus you bank 50k. I have no issue with doing that trade. Matt, 350k. George, I have Skinner. Should I scrap him for O'Driscoll? It seems like a dud. Or use Ward. Will also will Cherry or Martin score better this week? Let's see who Cherry plays. You'll see my trades here anyway. So I've done I did a Driscoll to Ward to Driscoll, and then I did Brody for somebody. I had like 200k in the bank or something, so I could just do that anyway. I out Gibcus, Ward, in Brody, Driscoll. Hopefully that works out. So Cherry's playing English. Nick Martin is playing Freo at home. I like both of them on the field. If you can loop them, do that. I think probably Cherry, because English gives up a lot of hitouts to advantage, like a lot. But he's still good around the ground. I'd actually go Cherry. Cherry for this week. And with Skinner, here's the thing with Skinner. Skinner's capable. He hasn't shown any capabilities in the preseason or AFL level yet of high intercepts, but he was doing that in the SNFL last year. I think he's a good chance to come back this week, but apparently Ali's coming back in 1 or 2 weeks. So does he go straight out? So Skinner's a really, really tough one. If Skinner's named this week, I'd probably just go Ward out. It's just hard because I don't know if Skinner holds, because Port really, really need height back there because they got destroyed on the weekend. They've been undersized for who they have. Like Gorn and Jackson scored like 300 points, just killing them in the air last week. Dan Marshman, here we go, another one of these. You're a comedy god. For someone with such a solid grasp on the game, you are the most reactionary player going around. You've already blown the extra 5 trades we've given us only round 5. Given a chance, you would have ditched Crips as well. You need to start trusting your choices. Yeah, that's fair criticism. Not going to argue with that. Jimmy G, thoughts on Crips to Heaney and Ward to O'Driscoll? No. Ward to O'Driscoll, yes. Crips to Heaney, no. Hold Hinge, yes. One trade next week, get Bruce, that sounds fine. I think next week, like, I have nothing to do. Like, what am I doing next week? At the start of every round, I'm like, I don't need a trade this week. By the time the round's over, it's like, shit, I need to get these 2 players in and not overreact and everything. So, like, next week, like, what am I doing here? I already got Bruce. Like, I hope to not trade next week. If I can somehow get Rao to a premium, somehow, I probably could do that. If Rao does bad again and his break-even gets too high. Otherwise, hopefully I don't trade. So if I'm trading next week, it would be for an upgrade or a injury correction if required. So yeah, next week, I think it's, we'll only get like a 3rd price rise out of players. So that's really probably not enough. Usually you want like 5 or 6 price rises, but just depending on break-evens and stuff. And players that we can get in. So yeah, next week, save the 1 trade for Bruce, hopefully. See what happens elsewhere. Barnes, I've got proof. Oh, hang on, next question. Hey, George, I'm thinking of going Crips to green. The rest of my team is fine. Nah, not worth it. I've got Bruce too, definitely went early. It was okay to go early, I think. It's just, in terms of saying, it's the play, you grab the points this week, because he was always going to score well. So, yep, hopefully you can cover with Dixon or Hayes this week. The other trade is really out for Heaney or English. English feels safer, but Heaney, huge anti-pod. Heaney still gives me Crips Burnman vibes. Could Ruck English over Dixon this week. On the podcast, I said English over Heaney because I think English's scoring avenues are a bit more consistent than Heaney. Look, Heaney's probably overscoring because he's, kicking winning goals and stuff like that. Heavy scaling. Apparently he wasn't feeling well this game and he still scored 130. So, who's going to end up higher from here on out? Well, there was an article the other day on English. Some stats one was saying like he's like elite for elite from around the ground for a ruckman, marks, I can't even remember, like all this like contested possessions even around the ground, like all, like he's like elite apart from hit at advantage. He's like elite in like all these categories. So English is probably the real deal, and he just seems to be scoring super well and at ease, and just if he can beat some of these rucks, he's going to go really big because he seems like he can keep this sort of scoring up. So, you got to remember last year, he went 88 average, playing forward for most of the year. So, like, what's he going to do with, like, number one ruck time? Well, we're getting 115 plus, and I think he's 110 plus for the rest of the year, possibly more. The only reason why he's not is because he's losing hit outside advantage in most games. Look, I love Isaac, and hard for me to pick anyone over Isaac, but English is the one because he provides the ruck cover and his role's a little bit more consistent. So there is the thing with English too, they bring Martin in, well, I think, and use English forward. I'm not sure that happens unless they get an injury up forward. So they want English. English is probably the All-Australian ruck, and I feel like he should stay there. So I think I would probably go English. But yeah, there is always the off chance with English that they make him forward a bit. And, if he's 88 average doing forward time, then I think he was, I think he was mostly like in the 80s with Martin, high 80s. So something like that. I think it might have been mid 80s actually, mid 80s average with Martin, something like that. So it's actually not the worst because Martin's not going to be there for most of the year. Martin can't do it. I'd go English. Cooper Hayes in the same boat as you, George. I can go Crips to Sinclair. Again with Crips, we hold. Just hold. Same question. Yeah, good to hear from you. Good day, George. Hope you're well. Tough start, mate. But you have the game to bounce back. Onwards and upwards from here. All the best this week, mate. Thanks, dear. You too. I know you're killing it this year, so you'll definitely get me again this year in terms of the rank. But yeah, hopefully you can go all the way. Thanks, dear. Much appreciated. Aiden Brown. Hey, George. I've traded Bowie to O'Driscoll, Crips, and Brody. Bowie to O'Driscoll, Crips to Brody. I've used my boost to go Hinge to short. I'm sitting on 27 trades, which is not what we want. And is it worth using my boost this week? And also switch Cogs in the midfield, put Brody forward. Doesn't really matter. So, Bowie to O'Driscoll tick, Crips to Brody cross, and Hinge to short cross. You haven't really accomplished much here. If you can go Bowie to O'Driscoll and Rookie to Brody, if you think Brody's a keeper, then do it. Short is pretty expensive now, and he'll probably stay around the 600s, which is pretty crazy. So I think you can get short after, and I know it's painful not having short, but I think you can just pay a little bit more for him after and hold Crips. So I would go Bowie to O'Driscoll, and then if you think Brody's a keeper, I would go Rookie to Brody, like a Ward or Mark McDonald or something. Roy Lech. Thoughts on Dow, Rioli, or Broad? Richmond SC irrelevant, but just wanted to hear your thoughts about this trio. Probably too late for Dow. I think it's too late for Dow. I don't think he's like proven consistent performer at VFL level, so I'm not sure how highly he translates that to AFL level. Didn't get a whole heap of the pill on the weekend, but was really good the week before. Did kick an early goal this week, so I think it's too late for Dow. Broad, I haven't monitored Broad. I did see that he's averaging 90 something, so honestly, I have no idea on Broad. I haven't paid attention. Rioli's an interesting one, and I've actually looked at it because he's 400. So first 3 weeks he had one kick out, something like that, 1 or 2. The last week he had 4. They've upped his kick-ins, so I don't know if that continues, but his kick-ins went up. He does a lot of good defensive stuff. as well. In the preseason, he had so many clangers. I was like, he can't play. But he's actually been really good this year. So I've actually been impressed with him. You know, he's been using the ball really well. He doesn't bite off the bit more ambitious kicks than Short can, but you know, he's reliable by foot with just to hit simple targets. I think he's got a few points from spoils as well. So I actually not against it for 410k because he's averaging 97, and the first week against Carlton, none of the defenders scored well because I can't remember why, but like Short scored 110, but he had 60 in fantasy. So got probably like you don't see like 60 fantasy to 110 dream Supercoach is pretty crazy. You don't see that like almost ever. So Real had a poor one the first week. So he's been good the last 3 and they've upped his kick-ins. I'm not against Rioli if you want to go for him. I think he can be he's capable of top 10, I think. Maybe top 12 defender. Not the worst pick at all. I think he's better than Ridley. Rolls a bit more friendly. No will. I can get any mid I want for now. For Crips, should I get Took, McRae, or Neil? No, I have Took, McRae, and Neil. Just hold Crips. Does Crips have to go? No. Thoughts on Zach Williams? No, absolutely not. He's scoring well. He's playing well. Last year he came back unfit. This year he came back fit. However, his durability is very poor. As my alarm breaks, I'll just fix that in 1 second. Okay, so no Zach Williams. Too injury prone. We trade Bauer out this week with a 82 break even. If you have someone to trade him to, yes. Otherwise, no. Broken Supercoach. Brody isn't ideal for you, but he's the right call. I think he's top 6 forward. Line is Diane. Worst case for Brody is F6 dropping 80s. I think the forward line's outstanding this year. Better than the crap last year. I've got Brody, Crips to deal with this week. I've got Bowie, Crips to deal with this week. Erasmus and O'Driscoll look nice. Can also boost the grab Jackson, which would give me English Jackson and then Priest next week with Grundy still. Big belief that Jackson is that worst top 6 forward. I'm not 100% sure on Jackson. If you believe that he's good, that's fine. I think this week played against injured Lysette and just killed Port in the air. So I don't think Jackson's top 6. He could be, but I don't think he is. Yeah, hold Crips as well. Hey George, great video. I'm just wondering, would you go Steele or Bont this week? Steele is probably a more reliable option. However, you face GWS 2 weeks, could be in for a bad score. Whereas Bont may be a little riskier, but he's a dream run in the next month or so. I honestly think we'll see a little bit of regression from Steele this week. Maybe like, not this week, this year. I think he's probably like closer to 120 than 130. And then Bont's probably a tad below that. So I think Steele over Bont still. Bont, there's like a lot of point sharing. It's just hard for the Dogs, I guess. I think Bont's still good for like sub, 118 again or whatever it was. Trent Paul. Hey George, a bit of a rough start of the season. I think you need to call the trades, bud. Yeah, I know. I don't think you can go back to Brody as much as it stings. Well, I think it's just whether you believe he's a keeper or not. Nod looks a good move. It was a bit too long. Also, I've wasted some trades getting Crips and Dylan Stevens in after the start of the season. Now I feel like I have to ride out. Hope for better luck. Crips looks like a season keeper when fit. Also, Captain Crips this week. Damn, your Supercoach gods. Still looked damn good against this week. Yeah, he looked really good. Again, it's like a nearly 100-point win. Hawthorn's midfield is atrocious at the moment. Sorry, my alarm, or the alarm in this house is broken and it keeps going off. Sorry about that. Delwyn John T. George currently have Juan Franco on the pine, so it makes sense to move Crips to a premier defender to that for structure. I'm thinking Rich are the better options. So no, don't trade Crips. So I've had to say that like 30 times. Don't trade in Rich. No thanks. He looks terrible, to be honest. He doesn't look like he's moving incredibly well and relying heavily on kick-ins, but which he's getting anyway. But yeah, I'm not interested in Rich this year. Nate Merchant, out of Hayes, McDonald, and Hinge, who goes out for Bruce? Probably McDonald. If Hayes doesn't play without, if he doesn't play without, what's it called? Ryder out for 2 weeks, I'd probably get rid of Hayes then. Otherwise, McDonald. McDonald just doesn't have the ceiling because he's playing in a dead half forward role. Red Z3216, thoughts on Crips to Luke Jackson, Jerry to Bailey Williams. Okay, no, don't do any of this. Ward Stevens to Brody. If you can get Stevens to Brody, yes, but yeah, don't bring in Bailey Williams. Don't go Crips to Jackson. No. Oliver Bont, probably Clary. Oh, it's close. If it's this week, it's Bont. If it's after the GWS game, it's probably Clary. Crips to Brody, no, don't do that. Ward and McDonald to Driscoll. I probably have Ward because he bank a little bit more money. And it's a bit easier for McDonald to make money at his price. Ward has a better ceiling, but it's not happening for some reason. Oh, are you requesting trades for me? Yeah, I'll grab Brody. I think he's a keeper. Tyson, hey George, I'm thinking of trading Crips and Bowie, which gives me 1.1 million. Who do you think the best place to trade in for their price? Just hold. Best trading option I think this week is probably English at the price. Will Turner, in fantasy, would you be trading Whitfield and Crips to Heaney and Stewart? I wouldn't be grabbing Stewart. And I think you can grab Heaney for Whitfield if you want via DPP. Or Crips rather. I think you could do that if you want. I don't know if Crips is a trade in fantasy. I think more people are trading him than not. I think I'm holding though. I can get Nick Martin off the bench to the field, so I think I'm okay with that. GMAC 041, what do you think? Who do you think will be a top defender? Pendles, Sinclair, Hyperreal. Want to bring in defender for Crips. Again, hold Crips. If I had to choose out of Pendles and Sinclair, I don't know, probably Sinclair. I like Pendles, so just a bit old. David Morgan. George trading out a player out then back in, and AJ going to put the mods on him for all of us that had him from the start. Lol. Yeah, hopefully not. George, thoughts on Bowie to Sinclair and Hinge to Doherty and Crips and Nod. Bear Sinclair, Hinge to Dog. No, I wouldn't do that. Hey George, will Priest cost increase this week now that he's suspended? No, it won't. Was going to bring him in, but can I wait a week now? Yes, you can wait a week. Cracking vid George as usual, thanks. Apologies, you're going to get asked this a lot, but Crips for still English. English, if you can, because it's cheaper, but obviously don't trade. George, I think AFL Fantasy's rubbed off you too much. Absolutely, it has. It has rubbed off me way too much. SC's more long term. If you could tell this preseason, George, you're trading out Seal gone the first 2 weeks, he'd laugh at you. Yeah, I would. The night manager, Big Andrew Birch. Taking into consideration the number of trades you've already used, if Crips' prognosis turns out to be 2 weeks or less, I would do Ward to Brody and Durden to Noddy. I like Durden. I wouldn't be trading Durden. I agree though. Crips is hold. Ward to Brody I'm doing, and then I'm holding Durden over the Hawks boys over Ward. And he means I think moving like a McCartan to the forward line. Field with Shelley for a few weeks. We'll do no trades. I'll grab Brody. That's the main one, and I'll grab Brody and O'Driscoll. Cassidy, what are your thoughts on Jake Sinclair's game? Can he maintain and potentially end up a top 8 defender? My money would be that he is top 8 defender because he's playing really well. Let's see what happens when other players come back. I don't like the fact that he did a hamstring late last year. So yeah, I'm a fan of Sinclair. I just feel like it's slightly speculative. He's proven in the back half of last year, so I think it's fine. Because it is slightly speculative and there's like safer options elsewhere, I think I'll pass, but I don't mind him if you want to go for it. George Svendorakis, will you play League with me, George? I only play TFT. I don't play Summoner's Rift, so probably not. Sorry. Harnett Singdale. G burning through trade shorts. No blood. I'll do the 2 this week though. Hey George, just to grab Brody and O'Driscoll. Hey George, Phil Dixon or Hayes next week. Who do they play? Dixon versus Laddams and Reed, or Saints. Oh, plays Gold Coast. At home. Oh my god, I have no idea. Like, these are the questions I never know. Like, which rookies to field. Like, I can say Cherry over Martin because Jerry can get hit at disadvantage on English, but I have no idea. Flip a coin. I've got Dixon at the moment. I don't know. Maybe Hayes can have a big game. Maybe he's hungry to cement his spot. Might go Hayes. I just feel like I'm going to make the wrong call. I just picked Hayes because I've read this comment. Thoughts on Crips and Owens to Driscoll and Heaney? Hold. Owens to Driscoll if you can. Should I do Crips and Oland for Driscoll and Green? Just do Oland to Driscoll if you can in one trade. Or Bowie to Driscoll. Yeah, don't trade Crips. Lance Franklin, the man himself. Hey George, tough start, mate. Really good summation of Lipinski, spot on. You have a lot of slow burn rookies in your team. Patience and faith will be your best friend. Bloody Crips, I wasted Gorn for him on the bubble as well. Haven't lived down it. Yeah, I kind of did similar. Yeah. Actually, no, I did that with Steel, actually, not Gorn. Yeah, it sucks. To people, a lot of people would have used Gorn money to fund Crips just to see Gorn go 160 and Crips do a hammy on the first quarter. Yeah, how many more we got? We got a lot more. Hey George, looking at Crips and Conor McDonald to no speaking English and Driscoll. Yes, to Conor McDonald to Driscoll, no to the other one. Hold Chapman, yeah, that's fine. Would you do Chapman to Brody? I don't think Chapman's a keeper. I think Brody is. So I think if he's your only avenue, I think you could, but I'd love to hold Chapman right now. Where's Chapman? I think does better at Optus. Plays away. It kind of feels bad to trade Chapman, but if he's your only avenue to Brody, I guess you could do it. If you have another avenue, I would do that though. So sorry about this bloody alarm. I can't fix it. Finn Baker, more comfortable fielding DeConing or O'Driscoll this week. O'Driscoll. Should I go Bow to Rook or Stewart to Doc? Okay, go do the second one. Grab Heaney instead of Doc or Stewart. And yeah, go Bowie down to Nod and then a rookie up to Heaney. Is English a must-have? I think everyone will need him at the end of the year. So I think it's hard to get him in right now. If you can, I would get him in. So I don't know about must-have. I think you can be okay without him, but he's very painful not to own at the moment. Thoughts on Butters? Hold, but assess. Get a bit more info on him. He's a slight concern though. Is Cherry to Gorn with cash from Bowie to Nod worth it? No, I think Cherry's got more money to make. Just a bit unlucky last game. Scored bad because it was off for like, he had to go off twice from a face cut. Jimmy West, need to keep count of how many times you name Will Brody was mentioned. Yeah, I know. Do you think Sinclair will be a top 8 defender? Yes, I do, but I'm 90% sure, so I'm looking elsewhere. George, told you about Crips. Told you not to get him. I told you he would get injured. I said once, I'll say it again. Carrying the team on your back is back-breaking work. To be fair, though, I just didn't listen to myself either. I traded Barry to Crips after round 2. So now we are both stuck with him. We are. Made 2 trades so far. Clemens seems like he's doing well. Too many trades, I know. Watching you waste your trades painful, you're digging your own grave. Yes, I know. You are watching ads, thank you. Keith, sorry, bruv. I've just traded Crips to Heaney. Heaney will shit the bed now. You can hold because I think Crips is a hold, but yeah, that would be great if you don't have to hold. It would be great if you hold Crips. Zach Hogan, mate, you need to do some checks before you say some stuff. Oh, we got another hate comment. Saints haven't got a new midfield dynamic for one. Well, don't they? They do. They got Gresham. And Sinclair's getting rotations. We got missing plays like Zach Jones. The same 4 minus Zach are there. We just rotate Sinclair and debutants in there very well. Sinclair's never had a hamstring injury. Yes, he has. I'd probably Google that one. Probably worth a Google. Probably not going to read the rest of that. Matthew, Hey George, what are your thoughts on Ward and Mitchell instead of Driscoll and Dixon? Yes. Does Dixon hold with Allen? Not sure. I'm not sure Ward to Dixon's worth it. If Ward's drops, I guess you could, but I'm not 100% sure Dixon stays in the team. Although I really think he should. Because maybe they use Allen up forward. Okay, they got Kennedy, Darling, Waterman, Dixon, Williams. Kennedy, Darling, Waterman, Allen, Dixon, Williams. That's too tall. Someone will have to go out. I don't know who. Because I think Williams has to play as the number 1 ruck. And then someone will chop out. And Dixon's the best chop out. But do they use Allen for that? I honestly would check the West Coast Big Footy board and see what they say. I'm not too sure. So I tick off Owens to Driscoll, but I'm not sure about Ward to Dixon. I probably wouldn't do it. Yeah, not sure. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's Crips and Stevens to O'Driscoll and Bont this week. Just hold. Grab O'Driscoll, but hold. O'Driscoll to Stevens. Stevens doesn't play is fine, but yeah, hold Crips. Harry Coote. I have no necessary trades this week, but I'm tossing up the idea of Stevens, McDonald, Ward to O'Driscoll, which leaves me 200k, and do Butters or Rao to steal a Bont. Is it worth it? I think Butters is still a chance to be keeper. Rao has no chance. So honestly, if Rao gets you to steal a Bont, you could do Rao to steal a Bont. But Rao's break even still kind of like 60, so you could give Rao another week. It is risky, but if you've got 200k sitting there, you might as well use it. And I'm not totally against it. Just it has backfire potential, but what we've seen from Rao the last 3 weeks is really concerning. Thoughts on Ben Keys? Yep, I like him. I think there's a bit safer options, but he's one you could go for. Hey George, should I trade Cherry for Brody? No. If you have another avenue to Brody, I would, but I think Cherry will score pretty well. Hey George, do you recommend holding Butters or use him to get the Heaney or Taranto? I would hold. It's hard because what I've said all this video is I don't think there's enough reason to trade Butters, but I am concerned with Butters and I feel like we should wait a week, see how he goes. I know his bad break even is a concern, but just assess in a few weeks, in 1 or 2 weeks. He should be fine though. He should really bounce back. Like, unless he's playing injured from that hit from San Pepper, I don't see why he can't bounce back. Last year, I think he had like a 50 game against West Coast and he scored like 100 by half time the next week or something. Alex Persadid. Nod and Dixon must-haves. No, I don't think they are. I think I would do the trade though. I would get Nod in for one of these 3. Probably Stevens if he doesn't play. Thoughts on 2 of Stevens, Ward, and McDonald to Nod and Driscoll? Same question. So as I said, I don't think you have to have Dixon, but I think Nod is good to have. I'd get him in for Stevens if he doesn't play. If not, probably Ward. McDonald's still fine to trade, but you bank money with Ward. And, you know, it's a bit easier for McDonald to make money given his price. I think McDonald's been better than Ward so far. It's just his role was far worse. Ellie, McCartan to O'Driscoll. Should I keep Rao and Butters? Or should I trade them? If so, who for? Just hold. We'll next week we'll assess Rao and Butters. And McCartan to O'Driscoll. What did I say to that? Did I say yes? I meant no. Don't trade McCartan yet. I think I'm going to go Bowie and McDonald to O'Driscoll and Brody. That's fine. Brody to Bowie to Brody in one trade. I think that's fine. Would you trade Rao and Bowie for still a Nod? I don't mind. I think you can go for that if you want. Hey George, it's been a bit of a rough start of the season. Do you think it may be time to consult Pierre for Supercoach strategy? Maybe. I think he'd be doing better than me. And his English is awful. He wouldn't even read the names properly. Hey George, my rookie defenders are Hinge, McCartan, Taconi, and Sin. Who should I correct for O'Driscoll? A Sin for O'Driscoll? Yes. A Sin is injured right now and he's very injury prone anyway. Get rid of Sin. He's a bust. Hey mate, thoughts on Whitfield to Hall and Ward to Nod? No, don't go to Hall. Hall stresses me out too much. And Ward to O'Driscoll, that's fine. Last question, we made it. Is now a good time to trade Lipinski to English? Have been disappointed with Lipinski's output. Doesn't look like he'll be DPP. Worried I'm chasing points. And as I traded Brody to Lip up to round 1. Regret. Yeah, I did Barry to Brody to Lip, which is probably worse. No, they're both very bad, put it that way. But English looks like a lock in the forward line. Still am holding Gordon Grundy. Keep up the content, great stuff. if you can do Lip to English in one trade, I think it's fine. There's every chance that Lip could outscore English this week, but Lip is not a keeper. Unfortunately, he scored 130 a few weeks ago, but you know, in this trade, you're going from a non-keeper to a keeper. That means your team is making progress. Even though Lipinski might make a bit more money, English probably makes a bit more money as well. Lipinski might have a really good week and look great. However, I don't see Lipinski being a midfield keeper, and English is a forward keeper. I would do the trade, as much as it hurts me to say that. So thanks for watching the video. So sorry about the alarm. I don't know if you guys can even hear it or not, but yeah, it's broken and it won't stop going off and I can't fix it. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the team video tomorrow.